Saturday, man. Listen, I'm gonna get right to the point, man. This video
Nick
here is
Merckx,
the
dude.
definition of just why I'm so disappointed in the gaming community, the gaming scene. This world, the direction we are.
No sense. We should encourage.
Well, no.
No, because you're saying the definition of an adult is 18. I'm saying that
Oh, there is.
Anything under 18. If
is,
you are under
that's
18, you're a
exactly
child.
what a child. Because that's when you become an adult, correct?
Extenuating circumstances, of course, but at that age, you are starting to become independent. You are no longer just in your parents' household a kid. You
Right,
are
but
now going off into the world on your own.
You do admit that varies for most people, right? A lot of people don't move out of their parents' homes until they're 25, 26, 27. A lot of people don't.
There's nothing wrong with that.
A lot of people graduate high
whole,
school 16. A lot of people graduate high school 20. It's a huge variable. So to set that in stone is that
I agree. If you debate this, you already lost.
this is when you're a kid and this is you're an adult. That doesn't apply to most people. So why would you define a kid and an adult if it doesn't apply to most
Love
people?
from the Netherlands.
Because it needs to be defined. Otherwise, you can get into this really gray area where you, like a lot of the things you say, can be misconstrued as you wanting to have sex with a 15, 16-year-old.
Who construed that?
A lot of people, because I mean,
I don't
in
think
your
anybody
clips
thinks
that
that.
I played in the video, you were
no
saying like the age of maturity, the age of development, and then you use 16 and 17 in that clip.
So
like, for the age of marriage.
The definition of an adult is 18 years old.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty fine establishment right there. Anything under 18 would classify as a kid. I think that's important.
Okay, but you're getting that from what? From personal experience, from the government, from the law? Because that's legally in America, that's when you become an adult, correct?
Yeah, legally.
So you're following the government's definition.
I mean, there's also quite a bit of
xQc have a
there's also quite a bit of science behind it.
Of an adult.
I think there needs to be a definition, and that one's been around for a long time, and I think that's the one most people accept as the closest to, like, yeah, this is when you become an adult.
It actually hasn't. Like 200 years ago in the 1800s in America, the age of marriage...
Yeah, we can't live like that. We're so much more advanced than that. Why would we play by those rules? Because at that point, are you going to start arguing that we should be able to start wedding 12-year-olds? Like, is 12 too young?
Yeah, because the Romans did it.
I'm saying, you're saying that
Right.
the U.S. defined...
The Romans did it, so it must be okay now.
Well, I'm saying 200 years ago, the age of marriage in America was 10, and the UK was 7. Right?
7?
Why is the standard that we apply 200
What?
years ago?
So if the government decides to change it, you're saying it's 18. If the government, maybe, if Kamala Harris...
Pretty sure
gets
that's just
elected,
wrong.
The new legal age of an adult
Pretty
is
sure it used to
25.
be 12
There could be reasons to say that. They graduated college,
and
they don't leave the
14,
house until this age.
but not
Brains
that
don't
young.
develop until they're 25. Your frontal cortex is not fully
Yeah, because
developed until you're 25
the-
years old. A lot of people
way
aren't making
before,
serious money. They're not
marriage
independent,
was
independent. A lot of things that you can
decided
classify
upon,
an
right,
adult
by
don't
the
happen
church.
for the new age
When you
of
get
marriage
married,
until 25 years
well,
old.
you
So Kamala
used back in the day when you get married, you did so
Point that people agreed
with
that it's
right. Your
developed
marriage was
and
overseen by a priest or a bishop, right? So they had to approve.
It's
Would you
developed.
then say that that's
They don't
And
just
now-
get married.
with
Why- there's
You
science behind it.
have
I
to
think
get
that'd
some
be totally
approval.
understandable. Like, I
Right,
think
so
that's
does that,
fine.
so then
Like,
does that
if
make
if you
so then does that make anybody who sleeps with an under 25-year-old, does that now make them a pedophile?
No, I don't think necessarily that makes them a retroactive pedophile.
So what-
by
so
any
And
what's the
means.
still,
point?
even though it was younger
It's an
back in the
accepted
day,
definition of 18 for a
still
long
most
time
people
is
Not for
the
that
agreed
long.
upon-
Not
married
for that long and not through most states.
in their early
Even though-
20s
even
or
though there is-
in their 20s, right? Some people
Even
married
though
late
we were
teens,
saying,
but
right, that they stopped doing
early
the sideline
teens,
after
they
25 or whatever
that's
the fuck, right? I think
it's
there's significant,
99% that's an arranged
stuff
marriage. You feel me?
that shows
Almost always an
something
arranged
decline
marriage.
After
People
like
don't marry
27,
that young.
28.
They just don't.
Not through most countries across the world.
Do you see why this is like a weird take to have though? Like what? Like I don't think you're coming at this from a place
Yeah,
of you
some
wanting
studies
to fuck
are-
a 15-year-old, are you? Like, to go back to that question, is 12 too young? Do you think 12 is too young?
I think 12 is too young for me. Yes.
Well, for you, do you think 12 is too young in general? I feel like that should be an easy answer.
12 is too young in general, correct? Because,
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't
But
think you're
I want
coming
to
at this
want to
from that
define.
angle.
But what you're saying, your definition of adult, is not even the.
Imagine if you didn't call him out on saying in general or whatever, right? This is for him, which means that it's still being rationalized in his head, which I think
The actual definition. Do you know what the definition of child is? Like anybody watching this can Google it. You can Google it too. The definition of child is somebody who has not reached puberty yet. That's the definition.
Yeah, and then you get into like the
No.
pedophile or
Yes.
whatever, as
So where
opposed
does
to
it lose?
pedophile, and those are all
In
I
a
don't know,
general
I have no
use,
idea what
but
those
not
terms
in a
are.
legal
I don't
use.
know what that is,
If you,
but I'm saying that's the actual definition. When
right,
somebody reaches
most
maturity,
people
it's based off of biological and physical maturity.
wouldn't, if you had a smaller child
Right.
Yeah.
and a teenager,
So it varies for
you
everybody.
would call the small
Adulthood is
child a
not something
child,
that you can set in stone because
and
it's
the
different
other
from time
child,
to time. I moved out when I
a
was 14.
teenager,
A
or
lot of
maybe
people
a
moved out
young
till
man or
25.
young lady,
A lot
something
of-
like
I went
that,
through
right?
puberty when I was 17. A lot of people went through puberty
Relatively
when they were
seen,
13,
but
14, 15.
still,
It changes for everybody.
usually,
So for you to say that this is the set
we
in
call
stone
these
and say you're a
teenagers
pedophile if you're
children
under
still,
18, and then if you're
depending
over
on
18, you're fine.
depending on the
Then
context.
that's a weird line.
Especially a
So
legal
you're gonna say
context, they're
It's not
just children.
physical, biological, mental, mostly mental, if anything. Mental, yes.
this person is a terrible person if they're 17 years old, 364 days, and right after that they're good to go. Well, it changes for everybody. So we have to have something, a definition. We have to be
do.
realistic with
It's
everybody.
but
Well, we
there
don't.
is-
But you're saying we,
Yeah,
but
last
that's
pause.
not even.
We need an actual black and white point so we don't get Sneakos.
Yes,
That's the thing. We don't want to be able to say, well, I think this, well, I think that, well, my opinion is that, no, there's no opinion. It's black and white here,
okay.
just so that we don't have
My opinion about this
separate
is
shit. That's what it
you
is.
want to
That's how that works.
be able to
Listen,
judge
Why
everybody.
argue against it? If
All,
you don't want the
ideally,
same
you want to be able to
vote,
judge everybody
why are you
when they're
making
mature.
arguments that the same people who
But
do make? Right now, what you're saying is kind of
People
what
themselves
Nambla
can't
was doing
even
with
judge
North
themselves
no
to
idea.
be mature.
Nambla
So how do you
North
expect,
American Man-Boy
as a
Women's
whole,
Association.
everybody to be
Because
judged that
people-
way? You
because these
can't.
people
That's
don't
why you have
want-
the
they
age.
wanna have sex to
Because
take
it's an
advantage, and
expectation
they don't abide by the
of,
rules of marriage.
at
They
that
don't have any
point,
sort of
they
morality.
should
They
be,
just
or
wanna- they
most
just wanna
people
have-
are,
I'm arguing for this
mature
because I believe
enough
in
to
marriage.
do
Sex should
that,
only
right?
be within wedlock.
That's
why
why,
I'm talking
although
about
this is about
Why, if you're arguing, we can take
sex,
that.
marriage, right?
Why, when you're arguing for marriage,
There
do
are
you
other
want to drive?
ages
Like,
with
okay,
this. Like, you can
I
drive a
think-
car
when
when you're
did I say-
16.
when did I s- just because
It's
I don't
younger,
believe in the age of consent
because
does
we
not mean that I
expect
want
at
it to
16
drop.
you're
Like, see, that's
mature
where, like,
enough
the internet,
to
you
be
can go apply
able
that
to
just
drive a
because I'm
car, right?
saying-
no.
You can get
No,
married
no,
at
'cause you're
18
saying the definition
because
of
you
adult is
should
18.
be
I'm saying that that's an
mature enough.
arbitrary
Most
number,
people
and
are
that makes
mature
no
enough
sense.
to do
We should
that at that
encourage
age.
marriage when people reach
You
maturity.
can
That
drink
makes
alcohol when you're
much more
21
That's even more vague,
because
though.
we
Like,
expect you to
but
be
also,
able
you-
to handle
it's vague
alcohol
because
in a
it's different.
responsive
When someone-
way
when someone can legally
when
drive,
you
they should be able to
get
legally
past that
marry.
age,
You did
right?
say that to me.
That's how you
Right,
should
when somebody-
see it.
when
Not
somebody is
everybody
legally ready
can do
to
it
drive-
at
same thing. I
that
think
point.
adults should drive cars.
Some people might
There-
be
there
able
are
to do it earlier,
children that are better
but at
driving
that
cars
point,
than
it's,
adults
it
that
maximizes
have driven their entire
the
life.
overall benefit,
So that point,
right? The overall
that you
people
choose,
that can do
guys,
it are mature enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you're ready
It tries to
drive, you're
limit,
ready to- okay, 'cause you're like 8 years old, now,
restricting
right?
young
You're
people
7 years
from
old, they're
doing
living
things
down
and
this
exploring the
road.
world.
So the point is that, well, that doesn't work. That's not a good
And
point.
it's still
not a
concise,
good,
easy enough to
example
understand
or,
legally and debate legally
might work for this. You're just stupid.
and
But
respond
15 and
legally
16-year-olds
when
can
things
drive.
go
So
wrong,
it's about
right?
You said when someone can legally drive,
Across the
they
world,
should
15
legally
and
marry.
16-year-olds can have sex too. I think that
That's
people
true.
should not operate.
But-
But see, you keep thinking that I'm saying this because I want the age to be lowered. That's not what I'm talking about at all.
That's
I-
what it comes across as, though. When you
Yeah,
say
but-
maybe
yeah.
with the
you are-
internet brain because people
Because it-
in the West, they want to have sex all the time and they have a different sort of mindset. Right here in the Middle East, I'm in the Middle East right now. They want to get married and then have sex. So people, just because I'm saying this does not mean automatically lower. No. That's not the case at all. I want to ask you then, because you're insinuating that it sounds creepy and that I sound like a pedophile. What's the definition of pedophile?
Someone who likes
It's-
young,
it's an
young
adult
children.
who's attracted.
Never argue semantics on that topic. You're just gonna look stupid. Because as you say, because it's always gonna be, well, technically, that's not what that is. That's attracted to children. That's it. And then there's a bunch of it's not the correct word. Is it? Whatever, dude. Like whatever.
Attracted to
Like
children.
Yeah, it comes from the Greek word pedo means child and phile.
it's
means
pretty much a
love.
buzzword.
Somebody
It's
who
pretty much
loves
buzzword.
a child.
Whatever.
It's a buzzword, yes. I think using it appropriately,
An adult who's
not
attracted
just
to a child.
To a child, somebody who has not
not
reached
just
physical maturity.
Yeah,
categorizing
definition
everybody
of
you
child.
don't like when
Somebody
it
who
comes to
hasn't
this
reached physical
topic
maturity.
as
It has
that.
nothing to do with 18. The
You probably
definition
shouldn't
of
do
the
that
word
because
talks about
you should
physical
use it
maturity, not the
appropriately
US
in a
government
way it's
definition that
supposed to
you're
be
basing it
used.
off of.
So you can categorize why people do this kind of thing and how to combat people doing that kind of thing. Which is you group everything in the same way. You try to understand all these people in just one way. You're just not going to be able to understand them because people don't do sexual crimes for only one reason. That's just not the case.
I don't even believe
some people do it because they're immature and they can't control themselves, or they never learn how to control themselves and they're very immature. Some people do it because they're fucked up in the brain and they're just violent people. Right? There's multiple reasons. A lot of the time it's not something you do as a single violent crime, but something that a toxic relationship that develops over time, and it spins out of control. And what's the definition of pedophile? Right, it's also a sign of immaturity or manipulation or a intended manipulative way to form a relationship with young people to abuse them in this way. Right, there's multiple ways you could understand this. Just branding people as one single thing, it makes sense if you try to get it bad. If you try to understand it, it doesn't work. Because it's not only one. There's not only one reason why people do this.
All the semantics are very important around that.
Right. If
it is important. It's definitely important.
I should get consent from her parents.
But it's not important enough for the general person to care about it. Right? You don't need to know the exact semantics to say having sex with people below 14, like 14 at least. That's just wrong, right? 16 still probably wrong. 18 probably wrong, right?
Say that it doesn't count because she was under the influence or she was intimidated. Even this is an arbitrary, is a weird way to define when you're allowed to be in a relationship with somebody.
You're kind of talking around it, though. Those are all very different things. Like I said, we don't have to be talking about sex. I was talking about marriage. The question was, do you think, and you said when you are legally able to drive, you should be able to legally marry. Do you think it is okay for an adult to legally marry a 15 or 16-year-old?
Okay, well, by my logic, if the man is physically mature, if he's went through puberty and he's mentally ready at the age of 16, he's an adult. If he wants to get married to another girl who becomes a woman,
I just said an adult. Is it okay for an adult?
Right, and I established, but we haven't even established exactly what an adult. So if some
this is Brandon, they haven't established X and they want to know Y, and they have an equivalent of X and Y. And they don't have either of the values, so it's irrelevant. This is Brandon.
Somebody goes through puberty.
That's what they're going to do now.
They're biologically ready. They're an adult. So they can. The two 16-year-olds can be considered adults. By my logic.
We're not.
When does he get cooked? Yeah, he's not getting cooked. He's just not.
You can just type it.
This isn't going anywhere because
so do gamblers.
Sneako tries to.
You know what's forbidden in Islam?
Sneako tries to understand things.
Yeah. I get it.
In a way that's complete, and he tries to challenge the norm. Charlie just wants to ramble about the norm and not try to conceptualize things in a complete way.
It harms you. That's why we ban it.
Right? So they're not arguing from the same place. They're just not. Right? He says, well, it's this, and we need to argue this, and then Charlie says, Charlie assumes we already have a bunch of things pointed out.
That never happened, by the way.
When it isn't, right? They don't agree on the fundamental concepts at all. So how do you expect them to agree on the system? What the fuck is this about?
You need to be consistent with your idea of harm. Because you know, this is factually true. Trans people have the highest suicide rate. They're some of the most depressed people. They're constantly in therapy. After 7
That's
numbers like that.
true. That's true.
But without saying like what the terms of the deal were, I have to tell you one. I'll put my hands over fire and say it.
I think they're generally more mentally ill.
Ever. There's probably no proof. I
don't know why to brand them as these bad people. Just generally, they struggle with mental illness more than other people, other groups of people.
7 years, the dopamine wears off and they get depressed again. They want to change. The amount of people that want to detransition is huge. These people are set up for failure. It's essentially death. It's harming them.
Is Derek ready?
So why is it okay for
Chat, I have a sponsor to do with Tarek. Is he ready or not? Hold on. It says, want to use Discord? Yes.
xQcl.
For a doctor to set somebody up like that, why is it okay for
Sneako isn't retarded. He's just very
It is again. I didn't know you
controversial
very admirable position to take on gambling.
and
So I
very
appreciate you sharing.
contrarian.
against gambling?
Never heard you do that before. Huh?
I've
He's not dumb.
My
Not in the
community makes
slightest.
fun of me for talking about it too much. It was like a meme about how much I talk about it. That's why.
No, I had no idea.
Okay, you don't do it either.
What?
You don't promote gambling or anything.
No, man.
This
Yeah,
guy's
Charlie,
gambling. What are you talking about?
he tries to understand,
I just started drinking.
but
again
he makes a lot of
Occasionally,
assumptions
right? But you
on
wouldn't encourage it.
that a lot of things are already established. While Sneako,
He is not
because he tries to go
gambling.
contrarian on every single thing there
Yeah,
is.
with small amounts of money, you're not a gambling addict.
How is he?
What?
How is he?
Because he
How's he
because he
gambling?
tries to be counters
Brother,
everything.
He hounds
He
on
makes
the
these
table
semantic
and
arguments,
plays it at the fucking Red Rock. What are you talking about?
Addict.
and then Charlie just already assumes they're
What are you talking about?
already
He doesn't-
established.
Wait,
So
and
it
that's
doesn't
really
work.
good, bro. This is
not
why
going
I
anywhere.
took this call because like I see
not
this is
going
why I don't
anywhere.
hate, like some people think I hate
He,
you. And
I think
don't. Like,
before
I see, like,
before
there's a good person,
try to debate each
but
other,
the trans stuff, like
they should
this
have
is actually harming people, and this is why I was right so
more
long ago.
so
Oh, you promote it.
established their
okay.
own angle
I
they're
thought
coming
this was
from,
about,
what
the idea of,
they
like,
agree
some
on,
morality
what they don't.
or some religion thing, or whatever the fuck. So basically, religion is what you say, but not what you do, basically. So what we're saying is that to be religious means that you say, guys, I went and prayed, and I went and did this, but you actually didn't go and pray. It's all about the things that you say, not the things that you do, right?
What's even worse than
According
Chris,
to you
like,
guys.
messaging 13-year-old boys and being addicted to porn and all this stuff is encouraging people to do this, to follow suit. It's wrong. It's only been right for 10 years. We can't change human history and say that this new idea of kids taking HRT and permanent damage to their body is okay. We can't change morality like that fast. That damages society. Even Mr. Beast, like a guy that you like a lot, and you know, I think even then I don't hate him. I think he's a good person.
Yo, brother, you ready?
What's good, man? You ready?
What's up, cut?
Yeah. Did you tell what we were doing today? You want to tell them?
Yeah. You want me to say it out loud?
Ready? Today, guys, on all streams and everyone who's listening, we are playing the wonderful brand new game of Marvel Rivals with the brand new character Thor out and ready to go. We are about to storm,
No.
quick placing, and catch a dub, shawty.
What?
Shall we get started?